Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Reality Recap. Don't forget to subscribe and give this episode a thumbs up if you enjoyed delicious Sister Wives drama. We're discussing some huge bombshell reveals today from Sister Wives Michael T. Brown, one of Christine's hardest working children. In addition to operating the hit Pink Drink Company, Michael T. also spills on her Patreon with Tony Padron. But her new video had fans completely floored. Why? Because her daughter Avalon might have just spilled some explosive truths regarding Kody Brown and Robyn. Keep reading because you won't want to miss what transpired. Michael T. Brown has never hesitated to call out Kody on occasion, particularly regarding his troubled relationship with Robyn. She has criticized him for constantly blaming others and pushing family obligations away. Most recently, Michael T. explained how Kody first started drifting away from his elder children after the family relocated to Flagstaff, a chasm that further expanded after the untimely demise of Garrison. It's interesting to note how most of the Brown children never, if ever, post about their dad, even on special holidays or birthdays. But is Michael T.'s daughter Avalon set to put an end to all the rumors regarding Kody's actual level of involvement with his children and grandchildren? The answer may surprise you. On social media, the Sister Wives community has been abuzz with the discussion of a recent Patreon video where Michael T. and Tony reacted to the first episode of the tell-all. The real jaw-dropper moment came when Avalon showed up on screen and called her grandparents by nicknames that she's comfortable with. For instance, she referred to Christine as Om and Janelle as Grandma. But in Avalon, there was awkwardness when it came to Robyn. Avalon didn't even recognize her and would just say, "Robyn is my friend," without remembering her actual name. This slight brush-off indicates that Orion and Robyn didn't have a close or existing relationship. Things take an interesting turn when Avalon is introduced to Kody. She tries to recall who he is before referring to him as Grandpapa, and even asks his name, suggesting she doesn't actually know him either. Fans linked this to previous scenes, where Avalon affectionately hugged some relatives but disdained embracing others, suggesting complicated family relationships. Some theorize Robyn may be taking a step back because there are unresolved tensions on Michael T.'s family side. Others think describing Robyn as a friend could be a better option to explain things to a child who can't understand the intricacies as of now. But that's not the end of the drama. Kody Brown himself recently caused a stir in a video appearance where he counseled a client on how to shield children from older kids from other wives. Most viewers interpreted this as a coded allusion to his own domestic situation, perhaps the reason why his children with Robyn are less close to the step-siblings from his previous marriages. This only brings further questions about the dysfunctional nature of the Brown family. And now, Sister Wives star Janelle Brown is coming forward with her own unedited opinions regarding Kody and Robyn. Things quickly heated up during Season 19's tell-all. Kody complained about being ridiculed for his romance with Robyn and outright admitted to loving his fourth wife more than anyone else, with him claiming he's not doing anything wrong. While Christine and Meri have aired their grievances, Janelle's comments cut even deeper, revealing new tensions and truths behind the scenes. Want to hear exactly what Janelle had to say? Stick around because we're about to break down her candid statements and what they could mean for the future of the Brown family drama. With the first episode of Sister Wives Tell-All having come and gone, there was a heightened sense of tension between Kody and Janelle Brown. Kody spoke out about their broken relationship, but confessed he really didn't know what went wrong. He explained how their situation drove him to anger and frustration before finally just being done. Not one to be coy, Kody blamed Janelle for playing the victim card in their arguments. But Janelle hit back with equal honesty, saying she never played that card. She simply wanted her feelings and boundaries to be respected. She even went so far as to admit that if she had known then what she knows today, she wouldn't have wedded Kody, expressing profound regret at jumping into polygamy without really getting to know him. But the drama wasn't done yet. TLC just released a preview clip of the new tell-all episode, in which Janelle openly discusses her sentiments towards both Kody and Robyn. Although she admitted she might make a good friend to Kody, she made it apparent that she never had a real relationship with Robyn. Janelle clarified that she does not dislike them, but merely doesn't want to be their friends. In a dramatic confession, she said she does not like either of them and isn't anticipating keeping up with a friendship. The backdrop to this fallout is the end of a 30-year marriage. Janelle and Kody separated in December 2022. Their split was fueled by Kody's increasing distance from her and their children, especially after they moved to Flagstaff. The fallout also spilled over into their property dispute, which viewers saw play out on the recent season of Sister Wives. Now, viewers are looking forward to the second installment of the tell-all. TLC has hinted that Janelle is going to go deeper into why she does not care for Kody and Robyn, and Christine is going to have her say about being called Kody's favorite ex-wife. Maybe the most shocking revelation? Kody's shocking announcement that she was going on a guys-only holiday with Christine's husband, David Woolley, a plan guaranteed to fan the flames in a family already split apart by distance and differences. Behind the scenes of this formerly close polygamous family, there is a tale of silence, favoritism, and emotional walls. One of the daughters, now a successful businesswoman and writer, is one of the main voices bringing these secret family dynamics to light. Through her wellness company and honest online conversations, she provides fans with a raw, untarnished look at a world frequently shrouded in reality TV glamour. But it was a recent, innocuous-looking video moment that changed everything. Her young daughter suddenly appeared in the shot and piped up with forthrightness. What sounded like a nickname or even just a banter quickly turned into an epiphany that pierced decades of family-wide adult secrecy. These are a few words a little girl tossed off, which touched a raw nerve, revealing long-standing fault lines and allegiances within the family. For their longtime followers, this moment wasn't child's play. It was a mirror reflecting deep fractures in a family once together, under the same roof and under one faith. What comes next could alter the narrative forever. In a heartwarming moment that was captured on film, the small child spoke to her maternal grandmother with a loving, intimate nickname, rich in family tradition, a one that holds special significance within that line of the Brown family. When she turned to the woman who had previously shared a home and a husband with her grandmother, she bestowed upon her the same comfortable title, Grandma. This demonstrated that in spite of the legal adjustments and the changing dynamics of their relationships, an unbroken bond of respect and devotion existed between them. But then came the moment that left many in attendance truly unsettled. The child met up with the woman who remains the only spouse left in what was once a polygamous union. Her face flashed with confusion as she stuttered and then referred to the woman as my friend, not able to remember her actual name. No affectionate name, no intuitive rapport. And when her grandfather showed up, the child stuttered again, looking for the appropriate term to address him. Eventually, she settled on a formal title, one that sounded like it had been learned from stories, not from genuine lived experience. This raw and unscripted moment broke open a tightly held family history. To longtime viewers who have endured the Browns' struggles, this moment was saying everything. Children do not hide discomfort or pretend to be affectionate. This little girl's raw response testified that the emotional barriers in the family are not only grown-up issues, little ones feel them too, even if they don't know why. Websites erupted in responses spanning from amused amusement to painful sorrow. Several interpreted the child's reluctance to be the obvious indicator of emotional walls constructed over time. Others thought physical distance was the likely factor behind relationships, or the lack thereof, while others speculated that her parents may have deliberately restricted contact with specific family members, not with ill intent, but as a natural human reaction to frayed ties. Deeper still, the mother herself had long questioned the man who previously stood so imposingly in her life. She candidly discussed his blaming behavior, avoidance of responsibility, and emotional withdrawal in relationships that demanded work. His relocation to a faraway town surrounded by high mountains represented a physical escape as well as an estrangement from his older children and the burden of their shared history. Her rebukes grew sharper after the agonizing passing of her sister, who had fought for so many years to be noticed, loved, and appreciated. The father's absence, both physical and emotional, exacerbated the widening gap. Where his voice had dominated their lives with presence and strength, it had become diminished, relegated to paid speeches and empty public statements that seemed lifeless to those who had known him so personally. When the granddaughter could not recognize her grandfather, it was not merely a lapse of memory, it was symbolic. This was not a name forgotten, but a symptom of a deep absence. For a father who once lorded over a sprawling clan with pride, this forgetfulness was a stinging blow. Others may have said time and distance have a natural dissipating effect on bonds, but others viewed this as a metaphorical commentary on decisions made and relationships ignored. Emotion investment, after all, is not genetic. It's constructed with care and with presence. Meanwhile, the child's affection for her maternal grandmother and the other female in the family indicated where emotional energy had been invested, through hugs, visits, and bedtime stories that solidify memories, root names, and cultivate love. As footage of this sweet but telling moment went viral across social media, fans flooded with emotional responses and speculations. Some laughed at the toddler's confused faces, while others understood the gravity behind her words. One of them even remembered another scene where the same little girl ran excitedly to one woman's arms, but refused the man she hardly knew, pointing out how complicated family relationships have become. An earlier episode presented a telling glimpse of the family's increasing emotional disconnection, a moment in which a young girl, separated from her family in a crowd, was being consoled not by her own parents, but by a grandmother who was no longer legally connected to the family. The moment was telling about where real emotional support lay and in how legal bonds didn't necessarily translate into actual connection. Others speculated that the woman the child called a friend could have deliberately established emotional boundaries if she considered the child's parents emotionally unavailable or toxic. This possibility resonated with many who are aware that family nicknames do not necessarily equate to closeness. Relationships are selective, based on choice instead of duty. Recently, the child's grandfather appeared in a customized video offering some advice that set more than a few eyebrows into flight. He talked of shielding one's children from the example of older siblings from prior relationships, words that seemed little short of a coded reference to his own broken-up home. His children and stepchildren from previous marriages now live very separate lives, and many interpreted his words as an uncomfortable echo of the split. For the child's mother, these comments were merely the latest example of a long series of distancing, alienation, and blame shifting. Her own experiences, coupled with her daughter's simple observations, were a vivid illustration of the price of selective memory and emotional withdrawal. This story isn't about villains or victims. It's about how families evolve, sometimes growing closer, sometimes drifting apart. It's about how the smallest voices often carry the loudest truths, and it's about how memory, love, and legacy aren't dictated by titles or blood, but by presence, attention, and consistent care. As this family is still developing before the public's gaze, one reality becomes undeniable. The children, and their kids, are observing, learning, and occasionally quietly speaking out. Their mutterings, hesitation, and jaw-dropping frankness expose more than years of adult dialogue ever could. In the midst of bright lights and soft interview couches on Sister Wives Tell All, a woman who once lived firmly in the cadence of plural marriage spoke with a brutal candor honed from years of silent anger. She didn't talk with spite, but with precision, laying bare what many only suspected about the man who once ruled their collective lives. She spoke of a existence in which the personal was sacrificed on the altar of the collective well-being, in which promises of spiritual cohesion blurred the emotional expense. But when the family broke and reality dawned, so did her voice, strident, forceful, unyielding. Throughout the first part of the tell-all interviews, she revealed a truth. The man she had committed to was puzzled by the fall of the very family he contributed to. His words skirted responsibility, more infused with anger than introspection, as though taken aback that fidelity disappeared with his absence and emotional distance. Her answer, though, was far from vague. Declining to become the victim, she called for respect of her boundaries and her heart, boundaries she defined not as weapons, but as shields long past time. She thought about how her life could have been different if she had finally seen the nature of the man sooner. Her voice held no hatred, but an overwhelming sense of freedom, taking back years stolen from compromise. They later posted a preview in which she was speaking not as a mother or former wife, but as a woman who had finished a long emotional journey. Her elegant and straightforward conclusion: she could still be civil with her ex-husband, but the bridge to further understanding had collapsed long ago. As for his present girlfriend, she was even more honest. There had never been, and there never could be, friendship between them, and never would there be, not because of anger or retaliation, but simply because there had never been any groundwork laid for it. There is a strength in being quietly indifferent rather than openly hostile. For years, audiences had speculated about hidden rivalries and secret resentments, but her words cleared up many myths, revealing a multifaceted family dynamic that was informed by honesty and self-preservation. She did not wish them harm, she simply wished them away. Life for her had moved on, not with loud declarations, but with quiet purpose. Her energy was no longer spent trying to fix what was never truly whole. Leaving behind the shared spiritual commitment was not a dramatic exit, but a steady, resolute decision. When their house moved to the pine-shaded hills of their new town, something within her also realigned. The increasing estrangement became impossible to ignore. She saw with eyes that watched as attention turned to absence, support slipped into distance. To her children, she remained a constant, but to the one who promised to always be there, the silence spoke volumes. And that silence became more burdensome after personal tragedy befell them. The family lost someone unimaginable, and in that moment of anguish, there was clarity. The silence of midday presence sounded louder than words ever could. Where togetherness was most called for, what responded was remoteness. She told him that was the last time they broke. Legal skirmishes and fights over common property merely widened the chasm. The tract of land that had once represented oneness became a symbol of independence regained. She struggled for her just portion, without malice, but a confirmation of her own value. Every acre represented a page in her life, and she could not allow any of it to be lost. As the camera cut back to her during the final seconds of the interview, she was asked questions regarding potential future friendship with no hesitation. Peace? Perhaps. Camaraderie or warmth? No. She was creating a new future ahead of her, no longer stopping to extend olive branches that could be rejected or discarded. The next phase of the tell-all guarantees further revelations. A second woman previously at the center of the family will also comment on what it is like to be considered the chosen ex. And in a surprise no one could have anticipated, the central male figure admits to fantasizing about connecting with his ex-wife's new boyfriend, a man who now silently represents all that he could not be. It's no longer the tale of a plural family struggling to make their way through a shared destiny. It's about individual paths being played out, each woman writing her own ending. Some end in blazing fire, others in gentle closure. Hers is one of truth, the quiet, burning sort that resonates long after the screen goes dark. Behind her calm demeanor and unflinching stare is the path of a woman who was never destined to be in charge, but became so, whom everyone expected to remain quiet but chose to speak instead, and in speaking, she transcended being only a cast member. She became her own guide. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Reality Recap Daily Updates. See you soon.